Okay, so let's talk about the film Civil War and what its agenda actually is. So this is a film that has gone on to make over $25 million at the box office, which I believe is A24's highest box office opening yet. This is also their highest production budget of any film, so it's a big weekend for A24, and I think that they just showcased that they are on their next step to not just being the indie darling they've always been, studio juggernaut that they are wanting to become, and in my opinion, destined to be. So before we get any further into anything else, I want to let you know we are running a giveaway. If you want to enter that giveaway, all you have to do is be subscribed and comment below your thoughts on Civil War. We do have a review for the film that has no spoilers, and we also have an ending explain where we go through the whole film, recap it, and then talk about the ending, what it meant as well. So if you want to go check out those videos, I highly recommend them. And as always, let's get into it. So what is the agenda of Civil War? I think it's been a question that we've been asking since this film came out, and there's going to be a ton of different answers out there. And I've watched several of Alex Garland's interviews, as well as hearing him talk during the Q&A at South by Southwest when I first saw the film. And I think I've come to the conclusion that the real agenda here is that there is nothing worse than war. And that's something that I think is really heavily emphasized on my second watch of this film. So I know a lot of people were wondering, well, how did the Civil War start and all of that? And in my ending explained, I said that it doesn't really matter how the Civil War started. What matters is we are there at the Civil War now and seeing it unfold. And it's just horrific. Anything that happened or that escalated it wasn't really worth it to what the atrocities we see now. And a lot of the characters that we see throughout the film also say, like, when they're asking them, what side are you on? Why are you shooting? Why are you fighting? Why are you doing this? They just say, what does it matter? It's just happening. I have to live, and I'm going to do what it takes to live. And so Alex Garland does actually give us some answers throughout the interviews as to why this is happening. That the president who is in charge right now, which is played by Nick Offerman, is in fact a fascist who went on to go for a third term. And eventually when people started to say, hey, you can't do that, it's unconstitutional, all of this, apparently resorted to violence against these people during these demonstrations. So this is actually from interviews that Alex Garland has done where they're talking about why exactly the Civil War has gone on to become what it is. And so I thought that that was an interesting answer right there. And it also brings me to my next thing, was one of the biggest topics of the whole Civil War film is Texas, California. How does that team up even happen? In terms of politics, is a blue state, and then you have Texas, which is a red state. The thing that Alex Garland does talk about besides just politics in general is why wouldn't the two states, like the biggest states in the nation, go about, put aside whatever differences they may have. If you want to say they have differences or not, that's totally up to you as well. But Alex Garland just goes on to talk about that these two states would put their differences aside in order to take down this tyrannical fascist president, because that's what they got to do in order to keep surviving. What could come next if they let this continue? And I'll leave some interviews throughout the video for you to see what he says exactly. And I think that also the thing about the film is you have to take into account that Alex Garland wrote this because they were pretty much saying this film is about journalists and just how important journalism is to our current society and our world, because without anybody telling us what's going on or just showcasing these are the events that are happening, we would be clueless in our world and not know what is going on behind people in power and all of that, and they would just run crazy with power, right? Unchecked power is something that turns into tyranny and into just evilness. And so I really love that Alex Garland made this love letter to journalism. These journalists are showcasing this is what's happening exactly, and you make up your mind about what you think about it. And so that's something that Alex Garland said also was an approach to when they were making this film, is they wanted to make a film without any bias, just showcase what exactly is going on in this world, how the Civil War is impacting all of these different people around the country, what's it leading into, not necessarily saying this is wrong, but just letting you see what exactly is wrong and you make that up on your own. And so I think that what's interesting also is Alex Garland talks about that this is not only a story solely just for the United States. He did choose the United States because the United States is seen as sort of the leader of the world, and just imagining how the leader of the world would be in this situation would put it more into a jarring effect for other nations to see. So in my opinion, I don't think Garland is trying to choose one side or the other. They make that effectively clear in their interviews as well and in the movie, because we don't really hear about this side did this and this side did that and this side's bad, this side's good, things like that. We are just seeing what Alex Garland wants to present us is that any war would just be horrible. You see as these people are fighting and they're pretty much going about and killing one another because of this war that happened, because of this fascist president president. So fascism just completely has obliterated this country because of it and brought it to its knees. So what do I think is the agenda of Civil War? One of the things I said about Civil War in my review, I believe, and in some of my early reactions, was that it was apolitical, but I really do want to backtrack on those comments I made, because this film is as political as it gets. It's showcasing just how horrible a war can be. And one of the things that Garland talked about was that they wanted to take away any romanticizing of a war. They wanted to put you into the middle of this nightmare that this nation has descended on, showcase that this is not what anybody wants. One of the quotes I really liked as well from South by Southwest was Wagner Moura talking about how democracy is taken for granted in the United States as opposed to other nations that are just recently coming into it. And I believe that that is such a very heavy statement to make, but one that is true. I think that I think the thing that is really dividing people with this movie is just how atrocious it is, honestly, because I see a lot of things that are suggesting that it was horrible to see how these people were killing one another and just doing all of these horrible war crimes. But at the end of the day, these are things that happen in other nations that have happened before as well in this very nation. And it's something that I think people need to understand, is that there is a fine line between democracy and authoritarianism that can happen depending on the individual. And I think that having those checks and those balances is so important. And also those journalists are important because of that, because they are going to present you the facts no matter what. And that's what you would want from a journalist. And I know there's so many people that don't really have that belief in journalists. And to that, I say there are journalists out there that are doing this job. We see it right now with the atrocities that are happening across the world. We would not know about these things if it wasn't for the journalists getting the story out, getting the photographs out, getting the first accounts, giving their lives at points, and showcasing that this is happening right now. It's horrible, and I'm showcasing it to you. There's videos, social media, and stuff like that. So that's why I think that the film really putting journalists at the center of it is the important thing, because if you think about this film and the journalists at the center of it, if the journalists weren't there, what would exactly happen in this nation? This authoritarian, tyrannic fascist of a president would probably continue on the third term, be happy with it and all of that. But they showcase that this is wrong. The airstrikes that happen in the civilians, as they say in the film as well. It is important that the truth always gets out and that people are there to report it. And I think the agenda of Civil War is just that if there's something here that's wrong and we all see it, but nobody's there to really report it, to bring it out to the masses, to really drive it home. This is what's happening and this is why it's wrong. I think it just leads into a descent of chaos and really just a horribleness to it. I think that the agenda of Civil War, having no real agenda but to just bring you the facts of war is horrible, is honestly the best thing to come from this. Because like I've said before, if this was a movie that decided to try and talk to us about our own political divide going on right now, our own thing with this country and everything that is happening, I think it would have felt cheap. It would have felt like something that would not stand the test of time either. But the fact that this is a film that doesn't really dive too deep into any of that, and it's just presented as this is happening. Look at what's happening. Look at how horrible it is. And look at how people are reacting to it. It's something that's timeless. It's something that I think people in the future will watch and will still feel that sort of statement from Garland as an artist, as well as that warning from Garland as just a human that wants to see peace. So I think it's a very important film. It's a very important piece of art. And, you know, if you hate it as well, totally understandable. You can hate something. But at the end of the day, I think the talks, I think that the points that are coming across from social media and stuff like that, I think are interesting as well, because they really dive deeper into some conversations that I think need to happen more and we all need to be participating in as well. So very curious to know everybody else's thoughts. If you hate the movie, you hate me for talking about it and my opinion on it, that's totally valid as well. Leave it down in the comments below, because we are running a giveaway. If you want to enter that giveaway, all you have to do is be subscribed and hit that notification bell to know when this video drops, when we announce the winner. And also comment below your thoughts on Civil War. If you thought it was just a dumb movie with no purpose, totally valid as well. So comment down below your thoughts. And as always, I'll see all of you next time on the road to 30,000 subscribers. Follow us on our Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of that good stuff. And I'll see you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.